Seeing a psychologist can feel like a pretty big thing. Well, it is and it isn't. You know, lots of people see psychologists for a whole range of reasons, from career counselling, relationship hassles, school problems, family issues, you name it. But when you're feeling down or stressing out and you just can't think straight, well, that's when a psychologist can really help. An appointment with a psychologist usually goes for about an hour. This gives you time to talk about lots of different things and allows a psychologist to get a really good idea of what's actually going on for you.
Hi Tim.
Hi Louise.
Nice to see you. Come through.
So what is a psychologist?
Well, a psychologist is somebody who has been studying psychology. Psychology is the study of the mind and how you think and you feel and how that affects behaviour, and then how behaviour affects how you think and feel. For example, if you're feeling really depressed or really anxious, there might be things that you're thinking or feeling or doing that make those problems worse. So they might be interested in helping you think through that.
So why do young people come to see you?
Sometimes people might have been having troubles with school, might have been really feeling stressed about the workload, for example, or they might be having relationship troubles, maybe with parents or teachers or friends. Or it might be more that they're feeling really sad or overwhelmed or particularly anxious, so it might be more about what's going on inside for them. So there's really a big range of different things that people might come to talk to a psychologist about.
What does a psychologist actually do?
Firstly, I think I would start by asking some questions. So it's important to have some talking going on. So I might ask questions about the problem, might be interested in understanding things from the young person's point of view, exploring what the young person's tried already to do to solve the problem, in a way to open up different ideas and explore different possibilities. I might also provide the young person with information about different sorts of problems, and sometimes we might work on really specific sort of strategies that might be helpful, like how to relax or doing breathing exercises or something like that.
And what are some of the things that young people find most helpful?
It can be a real relief when they come and talk to somebody that's not going to judge them or tell them what to do. So having a place to explore different ideas, maybe get to understand what it is that's worrying them better. Young people really want to go away with some specific kind of skills or tools that they can use. So having a list of things that you can do that make you feel better or help you manage stress better, those things are all pretty helpful.
How long would someone need to see a psychologist for?
Well, that depends a lot on the young person as well as the problem and how serious it is. So a young person might come and talk once or twice to a psychologist, and that might be enough. They might have felt like they've got enough information to go away and try things out. For more complex problems though, it might be that you see a psychologist regularly once a week for a number of months, and that might be more appropriate. It's rare for somebody to go on seeing a psychologist for a really long time. Mostly it will be a shorter period of time. The sessions are usually about 50 minutes long, and I guess the most common is that you would see a psychologist once a week.
How much does it cost to see a psychologist?
So if a young person comes to a psychologist who's working at a public service, like a public mental health service or maybe Headspace, it would be most common that the young person wouldn't pay anything at all. Medicare would cover that. But if the young person comes to the psychologist and they're a private psychologist, then it may be that the Medicare fee doesn't cover all of the psychologist's fee, so there might be a small fee in addition.
Do you ever have to tell anyone what's discussed in a session?
Mostly what's talked about between a young person and a psychologist is kept private and confidential, and usually the psychologist would talk about that with the young person at the beginning of their work together. There are some limits to that. They're pretty rare, and it happens if somebody's worried about risk to somebody or someone's safety, either the young person or someone else's safety. They wouldn't be telling everything about the young person, really only the minimum amount of information that they needed to keep everybody safe.
What happens if you have someone who's really nervous when they come to see you?
It's pretty normal to feel nervous when you first come and meet somebody. The young person shouldn't feel ashamed or shouldn't panic. They'll get used to it and they'll settle down. It'll feel more comfortable after a little while.
Is there anything else a young person should know?
I think that it's important to know that if you don't feel comfortable with the psychologist that you've come to see, that it's all right to tell them that and to ask to see somebody else.
Well, thanks, Louise. Thanks very much for speaking with me. It's been great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jeez. You know, she was really nice and she was easy to talk to. It's great to know that it doesn't have to cost too much, plus also knowing that things don't have to stay the same. They can get better.